Patricia V. Twalo. I'm a social worker at Masifunde Learner Development. Today, I am here to speak to you about domestic violence. I know a number of people, when we talk about domestic violence, they always refer to the physical part of the violence. There's no universal term in terms of defining domestic violence, but I will try to simplify it so that everyone can have a better understanding of domestic violence. Domestic violence, first of all, it's violence. Or you can say it's an aggression behavior that is inflicted between a spouse or a partner. There are many types of domestic violence. You get the physical one, whereby you get someone that will slap you, bite you, punch you, sometimes even pull you by your hair, okay? And then you get the second part of your violence, that is sexual violence. We're talking about someone that will coerce you into having sex with them. It could be marital rape, or just because we have situations whereby a partner will demand ukuthi he wants to have sex with you just because you are in a relationship. Okay? When someone forces you to have sex with them without your consent, that is sexual violence, and that needs to be reported. And then we've got a third one that we call verbal, emotional, or psychological violence. That violence most of the time is not with contact. Sometimes it's a person that will come to you and consistently do name calling you, you stupid, calling you, you're not adequate enough, making funny jokes that are very humiliating within you, and also making humiliating jokes that will actually make your children feel like as if you are not respected and you are not important. And then we have the other violence, which is called economic violence. Economic violence, you will see most of the time, people will think that, no, my husband loves me if he keeps credit cards. No. If a person keeps your credit cards or your money without your consent, then that is violence. And also if you share a resident with someone and the other party or the other partner does have money but doesn't want to pay for the bond or for the rental of the house, that is also economical violence. Anything that has monetary value, that in position whereby you are forced actually to give without your consent or permission, that is actually violence. And also we also have intimidation and harassment. You will get most of the times that people will spy on you, and sometimes they will have doing threats on you. That is also violence, okay? You are not supposed to be threatened by someone that you have a relationship with. You need to feel free and be equal with the person. The behavior, it's something that one can change because we are not born violent. Okay, someone can unlearn that kind of behavior. So we cannot say that a person can actually blame a certain situation or a certain person to be violent to their partner. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to go to the last part of what to do when you have encountered such or have seen such or you are in that particular situation. Please, I beg you, do not ignore the first signs. Seek help. Make sure that you are always ready. Your bag is packed for an incident whereby you are in a situation whereby you cannot be able to help yourself immediately. Make sure you have an emergency money that you have set on the side for a taxi or for an Uber or Taxify to take you to the nearest police station as soon as possible. And please report the incident. Do not wait until the person has actually hurt you so much that you are in a position of unable to help yourself. Please, to other people, to our neighbors, to everyone, friends, please lend an ear when someone is faced with such violence. And please, again, do not be in a position of gossiping about it. Help the person to seek help. Thank you. That's me.
Hello, and and welcome to the gender-based violence session. My name is Andisiwe Mbelekane, but we cool so you can call me Siwe. You probably have heard the words gender-based violence or GBV. Maybe you've heard it on TV, radio, or you have read it on a newspaper article, or you are noticing on the fine print on my t-shirt right now. But either way, it's cool. Today, we will get to learn more and understand what is gender-based violence. Please be advised that the content of the session is much targeted for older learners, but if you're in grade 7, do chill and find out. Okay, let's get to understand what is gender-based violence. Let's break it down. What is violence? The dictionary says violence is any behavior that is intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. But let's agree that violence is not only physical force. So when someone threatens you, when someone verbally abuses you and emotionally abuses you, that is also violence, right? And then what is gender? Because it's gender-based violence. So now what is gender? So there's a difference between gender and sex, right? So gender has a lot to do with identity, right? So how do you identify yourself? And then it also has a lot to do with how you express yourself, right? While sex, on the other hand, is all about the physical attributes or the facts, the biological facts that you are either a female or a male. So that is sex. While gender, on the other hand, it's about how you identify yourself. So it's either you identify as a girl or a boy, a woman or a man, right? So gender has a lot to do with identity and also how you express yourself. So how you express yourself as a girl, how you express yourself as a boy. So that would be, are you feminine or are you masculine? So that would be, are you boyish or are you girlish in an easier form. So also, because of your identity and your expression, that might influence your sexual orientation. So what do I mean by sexual orientation? It is who are you attracted to. So if someone is attracted to the opposite sex, female or male. So if you are attracted to the opposite sex, you are said to be heterosexual, right? And then if you are attracted to the same sex, so if you are attracted to the same sex, so if you're a male attracted to other males or you're a female attracted to other females, then you are said to be homosexual, right? And then if you are attracted to both sexes, both female and male, then you are said to be bisexual. We are going somewhere. We are understanding gender. So now we know the difference between sex and gender. Again, gender is all about identity, how you identify yourself and how you express yourself. While sex is the biological fact that you are a male or a female, right? And then sexuality or sexual orientation is all about who you are attracted to. Now, back to gender-based violence. So we understood what is violence. That is when you are intended to hurt someone, to cause pain to someone. We can think of all the violent acts like beating someone, harassing someone, threatening someone, stalking someone is violence. So that gender-based violence is that, but doing it based on gender. So now that we understand what is gender-based violence, I want us to do a little exercise together. So here I have a tree, right? It's not perfect, please don't judge. I'll attend Vanilla's classes. We have a tree. It's a gender-based violence tree, a GBV tree. As we all know that a tree has roots, right? And it also bears fruits. So our roots in this case would be the causes, right? And then our fruits would be the effects. So I have terms here by my side. So I will pick up a term, read it to you, and then we're going to decide, is it a root or a fruit of gender-based violence? So is it something that causes gender-based violence, or is it an effect of gender-based violence? Physical injuries and health problems. So could physical injuries and health problems be something that causes gender-based violence, or is it a result, a fruit of gender-based violence? Yes, it is the fruit of gender-based violence. So we're going to put it here. Anger issues. Anger issues. Could it be something that causes gender-based violence or fruits of gender-based violence? Could be both, right? Someone could be a perpetrator of gender-based violence because they have anger issues, and also a victim can have anger issues because of being abused. So it can also go here. So another incident of gender-based violence could be rape, right? So due to that, there might be increase in HIV and AIDS infections. So this goes to the fruits of gender-based violence. Alcohol and drug abuse, substance abuse, root or fruit of gender-based violence. It can also be a root and an effect of gender-based violence. Toxic masculinity. So it also goes with gender norms and stereotypes. So toxic masculinity would be the root of gender-based violence. These are not all or everything that there is that are the causes or are the effects of gender-based violence. It's just some of them. I'm sure now you are probably thinking of many or having a debate within yourself about these things. That will be it for today. But what stood out for me on this activity is, how does the dominant gender norms and stereotypes cause gender-based violence? So on our next session, I would like us to break it down and investigate how are these gender norms and stereotypes dominate or cause gender-based violence. And also on our next session, we will see and learn more about the circle of violence. So if you are a victim or you know someone who is a victim of gender-based violence, these are the numbers you can call for help. Hello, I am Andisiwe Mbelegane. Welcome to our second gender-based violence education session. If you missed out on the first one, don't worry. You can watch it on Masifundelena Development's YouTube channel. Okay, let's recap. What did we talk about on our last session? We differentiated between sex and gender. We also defined what is gender-based violence, and we also looked at the effects and the causes of gender-based violence. We also defined what is violence, and we did say that violence is not only when physical force is involved. You know, gender-based violence can be in the forms of emotional, verbal, psychological, economical, and also sexual abuse. Violence can also be the use of power to control or harm somebody. For those who watched the last session of GBV education, we did highlight some of the causes of gender-based violence, and one of them was the gender roles and stereotypes. And today I want us to see how these gender roles and stereotypes can contribute to gender-based violence. Firstly, what are gender roles and stereotypes? In simple terms, we can say they are ideas, beliefs, or norms that the society says the girl or the boy should, can, and how they should behave. They can even influence how you conduct yourself. So as a girl, how you're supposed to laugh, or sit, or as a boy how you're supposed to be tough and not cry. These are all the things that the society conforms us in. Here is a list of some of the gender norms that we are used to. So these are some of the gender norms or gender roles and stereotypes that we have as a society. That boys, they wear the color blue and girls would wear the color pink. That boys would play with cars and they'll be good in sport, while girls play with dolls. And that boys are dominant, so they have power and influence over others, and that girls are submissive, so they are conforming to laws and rules. And also that boys are logical, so they think, they're critical and they're smart. And then girls are emotional, so they like to show their emotions, they're vulnerable and they like to cry. And also that boys are associated with leadership, so there will be the captains, there will be the class rappers, and so on. While on the other side, girls are stereotyped to be obedient, to be meek and gentle. And then also that boys are independent, you can't ask for help, you can't cry, you can't say that you are weak, while girls are passive. And then also that boys are worldly and adventurous, they are active, and then girls are domesticated. And then it also goes with house chores, that girls will wash the dishes, they will cook. And also even with coming to choose careers, when you're in grade 9, it will even influence the subjects that you choose, because your careers as a boy, you want to be a pilot, you want to be an engineer. So those are the careers that are stereotyped to be of boys. And then also with girls, their careers will be a nurse, a teacher, because you are stereotyped to be someone who shows compassion, who cares, and also who is a nurturer. Mostly it is men and boys who are perpetrators of violence. And these stereotypes that we just talked about, they are contributing factors of gender-based violence, where men or boys will be dominant, they will have power and influence over women and girls. These gender roles are even present in intimate relationships. As they are present in relationships, they can lead to violence. Violence is a learned behavior and is reinforced by patriarchal systems that are supported by our communities. Things like the boy should have the final say, or the boy being constantly jealous or angry when the girl is hanging out with their friends, or maybe having control in certain aspects of their life, like how they dress and who they hang out with. All these things can lead to violence. Let's see how it can all happen. Let's check the circle of violence. So this is the circle of abuse, or the circle of violence. This is where usually things start, so tension building. So the first phase is tension building, where communication breaks. So there might be a misunderstanding or an argument. So the victim becomes fearful in this phase. And then what happens next? The incident occurs. So there's verbal abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's even physical abuse or sexual abuse. The perpetrator gets angry or blames the victim. The third phase is reconciliation. So the perpetrator now tries to give excuses, denies the abuse, or they apologize or shift the blame to the victim. And then the final stage, it would be when the apology is accepted and then they promise to never do it again, or they blame the victim and the victim believes it's their fault, and also that the incident is forgotten for a while, so there's no abuse taking place. This phase is also known as the honeymoon phase. So everything is calm, and then it is most likely that this cycle repeats itself. So after everything is calm, tension will then again build, and then the incident will happen, and then they will reconcile, and then things go back to normal. It's an ongoing circle until it's broken. And how do you break the circle? You speak up. You say no to gender-based violence. Again, if you are experiencing gender-based violence, or you know someone who is a victim and you would like to help them, these are the numbers you can contact. Hello and welcome to another gender-based violence education episode. My name is still Untitled, and today I want us to go through the misconceptions and myths about gender-based violence. I will go through 10 of them in no particular order. It's just the most famous or the most common misconceptions about gender-based violence. So the first one, I'll be reading them from my laptop. So the first one is gender-based violence is mainly caused by substance abuse such as drugs and alcohol. That is a myth. We cannot blame alcohol and drugs for violent behavior. Yes, it can increase the risks of abuse as it can lower the self-control of the perpetrator and also maybe increase the chances of the victim, making the victim more vulnerable to abuse. But we cannot blame alcohol and the victim for gender-based violence. Gender-based violence is unacceptable in all costs. The second one would be sexual assault is mostly committed by a stranger, which is also a myth. In most cases, the perpetrator or the person who commits sexual assault is known to the victim. In most cases, it's a partner or a family member. So it's total opposite, that it's a stranger that is most likely to commit sexual assault. The third one would be people deserve to be beaten up for provoking violence. That is not true. People must be able to resolve conflicts. People must be able to resolve conflict in a peaceful and non-violent manner. No one deserves to be beaten up, as that is a crime to assault someone. The fourth one, so number 4, would be survivors of sexual assault are responsible for what happened to them and are capable of preventing it. That is a myth. That is not true. You cannot prevent abuse as a victim. There's nothing you could have done. The problem is with the perpetrator. So it's not the clothes you wear, it's not the place you are at. The problem is not with the victim, and we should never blame the victim for sexual assault. So it's a myth to say that the victims could have prevented the abuse, or to say that they could have prevented the rape, or they are capable of preventing it, or they are responsible for it. So our fifth one would be a boy cannot rape his girlfriend or a husband cannot rape his wife. That is a myth. Any forceful sexual intercourse is rape, whether people are married or not, whether people are in a relationship or not. There should always be consent from both parties, and also consent is reversible, so someone can agree now and later change their mind. That is within their rights. So any forceful intercourse without consent is rape. The sixth one, number 6, would be gender-based violence includes physical abuse, only includes physical abuse, and that is not true. We've said before that gender-based violence could be in the forms of emotional abuse, verbal abuse, economic abuse even, and also sexual abuse. So if someone does not physically hurt you, but they mistreat you, they belittle you, they threaten to hurt you, that is abuse on its own. Number 7, domestic violence or gender-based violence is a private matter. It's a family matter, and that is a myth. It is not a private matter, as it is a human rights violation and it's against the law. So it cancels it as a private matter that should be dealt only by family members. And those
misconceptions are the reason why gender-based violence does not stop, because we always say it's a family matter, people should not know, and all that stuff. Number 8, perpetrators cannot control their anger. This is not true also, it's a myth, because people choose violence as a sign of exerting power and control over other people. So it's a myth to say people cannot control their anger, but they choose violence as a way of exerting their anger. Number 9, there is nothing wrong with a sexist joke. That is a myth. There is everything wrong with sexist jokes and comments, because they are the ones that enable gender-based violence from the start. So these attitudes and behaviors, they contribute a lot to gender-based violence. There is nothing, number 10, which is going to be our last one, there is nothing we can do to end gender-based violence, which is also a myth. Gender-based violence is caused by norms and toxic gender stereotypes. So we could encourage an equal and healthy and respectful interactions between families, between society, and we could end gender-based violence by speaking out and not tolerating it, and making sure that we even call out our friends who are abusers. There is definitely something we can do as young people to end gender-based violence. Remember, there is always help, and should you be experiencing gender-based violence or know someone who is, here are numbers you can call.
Warm and friendly welcomes to you. Thank you for joining us again here on quaranTV. My name is Untitled Chapter, but we cool, so you can call me Siwe. I'm here bringing you all things gender-based related. And today I am not alone. Drum roll. As you can see, I am with 2 awesome guests, but I will give them a chance to introduce themselves.
Hello guys, my name is Oluyolo Lukwe, and also a Masifunde participant learner, and I'm 17 years old. I go to Ikumbulani High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Liolo. And I also have...
Hey guys, my name is Azukili Mogo. I am currently going at DF Malaraba High School, also a participant of Masifunde.
Thank you so much guys for joining us today. So as we have done in our previous episodes dealing with all things gender-based related, on our last episodes we dealt with gender norms and stereotypes as one of the causes that contribute to gender-based violence, and we also dealt with the myths and misconceptions that drive gender-based violence. And today we continue to learn and understand some of these factors, and a factor today that we'll be dealing with is male privilege. And my 2 awesome guests will help us unpack it and understand it better. So guys, if any of you, if you could help us understand what is privilege first, before we dive to male privilege. What is privilege? What is meant when someone says someone is privileged?
Privilege, it is an advantage that a person or a group of people enjoy without working in any way for it.
I take that, so that is privilege, yes, thank you. So that means that there are things that are made easy for you just simply because you are from that group of people or you are a certain person, yes. Right? So to conclude, what would you say is male privilege then?
A male privilege is when certain things are made easier for males or boys just because they are from that certain group called males, so things come easy for them because of that.
Exactly. So things are made easier for men or boys they are much easier than they are for male and boys than females, girls and women.
Yes.
Okay. Without assuming, I don't want to assume your gender, right? So which gender would you identify, or do you identify yourself with?
I identify myself as a male.
You are a male, so you are a male by sex, so would you identify yourself as a boy or a girl?
Okay, I identify myself as a boy.
You identify yourself as a boy, okay. And Azu, which gender do you identify yourself with?
Female.
A female. So because your sex is a female, you identify with being a girl or a boy?
A girl.
A girl, okay. Thank you. So I would like us to do a little exercise that will help us understand better male privilege, right? So the exercise is called drop a finger, right? And if you want to join us, you can also do it. So what we'll do is you will lift your 10 fingers up, and then what I will do is I will read statements, and should you resonate with the statement, you drop a finger, right? So a finger dropped represents a disadvantage. We said privilege is an advantage, right?
Yes.
So if a finger is dropped, it represented disadvantage, right? So I'm going to read out these statements, and should you feel that the statement resonates with you, you drop a finger. Understood? Cool. Okay. Drop a finger if you have to be mindful of what you wear, because it may come out that you are seeking attention from the opposite gender. Drop a finger if you ever got away with trouble because boys will be boys. Drop a finger if a person of the opposite gender ever demanded to talk to you or give them your attention on the streets. Drop a finger if you ever feared being raped or hurt when you're walking alone. Drop a finger if you can't be assertive without being told that you are bossy or you're out of line. Drop a finger if you've ever been told to be okay, start that over. Okay. Drop a finger if you ever been told to behave a certain manner or do things a certain way so that you will be suitable or worthy of marriage. Drop a finger if you feel that there is pressure on you to have a perfect body. Drop a finger if you are expected to work more at home than your siblings that are of the opposite gender. Drop a finger if you ever felt unsafe using a public transport and you are the only person of your gender in a taxi full of people of your opposite gender. Drop a finger if you ever felt the need to step aside when a person of the opposite gender walks towards you. Okay, Azu has no fingers left, and she identified as a girl. And Luyolo on this other side has 6 fingers left. So Luyolo still has advantages. So there are 6 statements Luyolo resonated with, and she felt, okay. Luyolo still has 6 fingers left, and those fingers represent advantage. There are 6 statements that Luyolo resonated with, and he felt at advantage, while Azu on the other side has no more fingers left. I hope this exercise helped you to understand male privilege. The statements were examples of some male privileges. As we know that male privilege can differ from culture to culture. These things exist again because of the belief that men or boys are superior, more valuable than girls and women, which is not true. Men and boys are equal in value and are both important. This is not to make men and boys look bad, but it is important to have these conversations and open up about these things that make women unequal to men, and they contribute to gender-based violence at the long run. And also discuss and question the power that men have over women. Speaking about power, our second factor that we will be talking about today that also contributes to gender-based violence is power. So guys, what would you say is power in the context of people? What comes to mind when you hear the word power when you're dealing with people and gender?
Power is having control, authority, or influence over people.
So it's all about control. So that what comes to mind when you hear the word power, control, authority, and influence. Okay, I want us to do another exercise. Our second factor that we will be talking about today that also contributes to gender-based violence is power. So guys, what would you say is power in the context of people? What comes to mind when you hear the word power when you're dealing with people and gender?
Power is having control, authority, or influence over people.
So it's all about control. So that what comes to mind when you hear the word power, control, authority, and influence. Okay, I want us to do another exercise. It's called snatching power. And I want us to use this paper as power. So this paper would be power. So at a count of 5, I want you guys to hold it at the tips. At a count of 5, I want you to snatch the power, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoa! Just like that. Okay, I have questions. Wow. No, you can hold your power, hold your power. So I have follow-up questions. So guys, you snatched power. How do you feel with the power that you have?
I feel very happy.
You feel very happy because you have all the power, literally all the power.
All the power.
And Azu, how do you feel that you don't have power, like you don't have any? How do you feel?
Devastated.
You feel devastated. Ne? Luyolo, how do you feel now that you heard how Azu feels?
Still very happy.
You're still very happy?
Very happy.
Why is it so?
Like, it feels very happy to have power and to have control over things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. And influence other things.
Other things. So are you saying that because you are a boy?
Yes, ma'am. Likely boys are very happy or likely to have more power over women or girls. So that's what makes them very, very happy, is to have power over other people.
Do you think, Azu, that is right?
No, I don't think that is right.
Why? Because he talked about having power over things, right? So do you feel that as girls, you are objectified?
Yes, because I don't think men always have the best ideas, especially over things that they may be not emotionally attached to. So it's not right that they have all the power over things, especially over women.
So we should always thrive for equality.
Equality, yes.
So if I would say share this power, would you be willing to? After what Azu said?
I will not want to share my power. Even though if I share it, it won't be equal, or like 50-50. Maybe it'd be like 75-25, like that.
And that is the perceptions or the thinkings of most males in our society, that things cannot be equal, which is not true. Men and women, girls and boys should be equal because they are both valuable and they are both important, right? So have you ever wondered how power affects you in relationships, maybe with your siblings, with your family, at school and in your community?
It affects us very badly in our relationships and in our communities because there are stereotypes that people think that they are supposed to do, like, or think that people are meant to do. Like, they think men are supposed to have power more than women, but that is not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be equal. That's how it affects our relationships very badly, because the man will think that he has control over a woman or the other partner, when that is not like that.
And for you, Azu, how would you say that power influences or affects gender norms or the power that you have?
I think I'm gonna go with relationships with siblings, because in most homes you'll find that female children or daughters have to stay at home, look after the children, cook and clean, while the male children can can be sheltered by their parents, and they can just leave the house, go to their friends, come back whenever and just eat. And I think that it gives sons or males the privilege to say that he can come home whenever, and his sister will always like cook for him and clean for him, which doesn't actually create equality in the household, because it's not that she has to wash the dishes alone. Sometimes she can wash the dishes, and then her brother can wash the dishes and pack them up. So it's those kind of things that promote to GBV.
So how do you think power should be used then?
I think power is supposed to be used to protect those who seem powerless.
So power, if you have power, you should use your power to protect. Azu, how do you think power should be used?
I think power should be used by to not oppress or abuse other people with your power that you have.
So power, it's all about protection and not abusing or controlling other people. My last question would be, how can you use power to achieve positive change?
I would say by doing what's right, and not only giving your own ideas, but allowing others to share their ideas as well, to promote equality as well.
So use power to promote equality. Yes. Love that. Have you ever wondered what types of power are there?
You have the power to do something, or you have the power to create something from within to promote change. And yeah.
Lovely. Let me take you to 4 types of power. Let me take you to 4 types of power. So there are 4 types of power, right? So usually there is power that people normally associate with control, domination, and force. And this is built on the belief that power is a finite, limited resource, that some have it and some don't, just like the exercise we did. So that would have been power over someone. You talked about controlling, that boys like to feel in control. So they want to have power over someone or power over things, right? So this is power number 1. The second power is power 2, right? So power 2, it refers or relates to the potential or the possibilities or the actions that can be taken or created. Okay, it is built on the belief that everyone has the potential to think or shape their worldview. So this power is related to possibilities, to potential. So power to do something, right? And then this power to do something, there's also power within. Power within relates to a person's sense of worth, self-awareness, and knowledge. So it enables people to be able to respect themselves and also respect other people. So power within also contributes to power 2. So it's when people are willing to do something, they believe
they can make a difference.
They believe they can make a difference. So that is power within. It also promotes power 2. So when you believe something you can do, then you have the potential to do it. Yes. And then the 4th power, this is power number 3. The 4th power, it would be power with.
So this is all about sharing. So this is shared power, and it's built on mutual respect and support, on empowerment, on positive influence, and also on equality. Can you maybe identify which power you have here and not tell me? Just think about it, even at home. Think about it, which power you have. Do you have power over, power to, power within, and power with? And this power is encouraged in relationships, in families, between siblings and schools and communities, because when we have shared power, it makes things easier, it makes a collective action and work. It is clear that if power is not used correctly, it can be dangerous, and also it is the factor that contributes to gender-based violence. That will be it from us today. But before, I'd like maybe if you guys have any message for young people watching.
Okay, my message for today is about the gender-based violence, which is abbreviates the GBV. The GBV has been part of our lives for a longest time. It's something that has been happening to us. It does not have any gender, in particular race, nor skin color. Our women and children are mostly victims. They are either raped, murdered, or kidnapped. What's painful is that these predators are part of our families. It is our uncles, brothers, cousins, friends, and our neighbors. It can even be our pastors and our bishops, those who preach us the word of the Lord. Questions have been running around. Am I next? What have we done? Why me? These questions are never answered. Instead, more people are losing their lives. Let me say no people. More of our women are losing their lives. What do we do? Another question without an answer. Let's stand together and fight for this. We are all losing our sisters for God's sake. Hashtag our women's lives matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Luyolo. What a powerful message. Azu, do you have any last message for our viewers?
I would just like to say, whatever you're going through currently right now, I know that you have the ability to speak up. Don't keep yourself in a relationship if you feel that you cannot be yourself, if you feel no longer respected, if you feel that you must choose between what you want and what you need. I'd just like to say that reach out, even if it's just a phone call, even if it's talking to someone, speak up.
Thank you very much, Azu. Thank you guys for joining me today. I'm sure our viewers will enjoy the session. And guys, remember, if you are in an abusive situation, or you are experiencing gender-based violence, or you know someone who might need help, here are the contacts you can call. Warm welcomes. I am Andisiwe Mbelegani, and once again I bring you education and enlightenment on all things gender-based violence related at the comfort of your home here on quaranTV. Today I want us to look and talk about what it means when we say gender-based violence is a human rights violation. So rights are these ethical and moral principles that have a legal dimension rising from the need that each and every individual needs to live and enjoy a decent life. That includes a life free from violence. So human rights are inherent rights given to every human being regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, religion, or any other status. In this context, human rights violation would be you not fully living your life because you are not respected, because you're not protected, or you are discriminated against, or you are unsafe, meaning you might be experiencing violence. So here is a list of not all, but some of the rights. When they are violated, they result in gender-based violence. The right to life. This right states that everyone has a right to life, to live, and no one has a right to take life, not even the state. So in the cases of femicides, the killings of women and girls by their partners or strangers, or the murder of people, that person is violating the right to life. The right to equality. This right states that everyone has a right to equality and to be treated equally. This means that you cannot be discriminated against your sex, gender, or sexual orientation, amongst other things such as religion, age, disability, and many. The right to dignity. Everyone is inherent to dignity, and everyone deserves that their dignity is respected. When someone belittles you or humiliates you, they are violating your right to dignity. The right to be free from slavery or torture. This one is self-explanatory. So someone could own you like a piece of property. You could be living in their premises and you'd be working and without getting paid. And that person would be then violating your right to be free from slavery and torture. This could involve human trafficking. So this would be your physical abuse, even sexual abuse. The right to education and work. So everyone has a right to basic education, even adult basic education and further education. And so if someone denies you to go to school, that is a violation of your rights. And also when it comes to work, you have a right to work for who you want to work for, and no one should force anyone to work for them. So that would be forced labor, and that person would be denying you or violating your right to work. And also if someone does not want you to work, that may result in economic or financial violence. The right to personal privacy. No one, even the state, has a right to search your house, your property, or possessions that you might have without following the correct legal channels. This includes opening your mails or reading your cell phone messages. That person, if a person does that, they are violating your right to personal privacy. The right to freedom of safety and security. This right basically states that everyone has a right to be free from all forms of violence. So the minute you experience any form of violence, it could be physical, verbal, emotional, or any form of abuse, then that person is violating your right to freedom of security and safety. The right to be free from cruel and unusual punishment. So even if someone could provoke or do something bad, they still have a right to be free from cruel and unusual punishment. Freedom of expression. South African citizens have the right to freedom of expression. You can write, say, and paint whatever you want, but your freedom of expression should not violate any person's right in any other way. So how you express yourself should not be harmful or discriminative against another person. Those were some, but not all, of the rights that when they are violated, they could result in gender-based violence.